Comic Impact. Sheldon here at San Diego Comic-Con with the lovely Nicola Scott. You may know her from Earth 2, where she is currently doing a bang-up job, by the way.
Thanks very much.
It really is great. Tell us a little bit about that process, because this is a different take, look-wise, on these characters. Did you have a lot to do with the actual character design work, or was that sort of handed down from DC, or how did that work out?
In terms of costumes, sorry about my voice, everybody. In terms of the costumes, there are a lot of people contributing, because designing a whole world from scratch, and this book is about the whole world, is a lot of work. And so I got to design the people, which was really important to me, because I'm very much about the characters. I want to make sure that I've got their body language down, their faces down, and their physical types down how I think they should be according to the script. But when it came to their costumes, I was very lucky. I got a lot of people helping me out. I was allocated a few characters to start off with, but I got to sort of get the final word on a lot of different contributions.
Are there any that are your favorites, sort of personal favorites right now?
The nice thing about being on a team book is that I get the variety to draw on a regular basis. But I have to say my favorite character drawer in this book so far is Jake Garrett.
Oh yeah,
there's something really charming about him, because he's this lovely guy that hasn't quite found his way yet. He's got a superhero physique. He's just been given superhero powers and a superhero costume, but he's not a superhero yet. You know, and so it's part of his story is he's finding his way to, you know, how he can use these powers. And we'll see in the first few issues that, or the issues coming up, that he really doesn't understand the best use of these powers. All he knows is that he can do things fast.
Yeah, and that's kind of where that's where he was at number, I think, issue 2. Was at the end of that, he's just like, I can do this.
You'll see in the next issue to come out, he still can't stop properly. You know,
but that's more entertaining, because he can't get a hold of it.
Charming,
you know? Yeah, it's fun.
And he's sort of like an entry point for a lot of readers, because he's this sort of very lovely, relatable everyman who suddenly has powers. So, you know, he's a lot of fun to draw for that very reason.
It's very fresh, like I said, a very fresh take on them. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know if I was going to love it or hate it or whatever when I first got it, because
we didn't either. Weren't sure how it would be received. Fingers crossed, but you never know.
No, it's very good. It's very good. Believe me, it's one of my favorite, actually, of the New 52, even still, that's coming out. It's just an interesting take on what has been given to us, kind of, I won't say stale, but it's definitely sort of become stagnant, that you can rely on this person's going to do this, but this levels the playing ground. It really does.
Well, what's nice about it is that all the personalities are actually the same. You know, Alan Scott is still Alan Scott. You can recognize him in there. Jake Garrett is still Jake Garrett. You can see him in there. It's just that instead of them being experienced superheroes that have been around for decades, these are young guys. You know, Jake Garrett is 22, Alan Scott is somewhere in his mid to late 20s. These are guys that are really early on in their lives. Their personalities are still cementing. And they suddenly have power and responsibility thrust on them, and how they're dealing with that. So we're getting to play with these old characters who really are recognizable, but in a completely new context, a completely new time, a completely new earth. And so we're getting to sort of really stand back and see where they would fit in now.
Are there any, I know that sort of it's been teased that something big is coming, and that's kind of been the sort of whole big tease overall. Can you give us any hints as to where it might?
It's such a scary book to talk about.
Because you don't know what you can.
I don't know what James has been saying to people. I don't know what I'll get in trouble for.
Well, if you can't, I totally understand. It's fine.
Solomon Grundy is at the end. You know, he's revealed to be our big bad at the end of issue 3.
It's very similar to the Rot and the Green that's going on in Earth Zero, I guess.
They are very much part of the same thing. One of the primary things that the editorial has been looking at is the connective tissue between not just our Earth and the primary tissue, but also the sort of the many worlds that might be out there. What possible things can be connective tissue? Like the apocalypse that attacked Earth 2 in issue 1 is the same apocalypse that attacked
actually,
the Justice League.
And that's what I thought. I thought that maybe they were going the way of, oh, there's one apocalypse, only one out of all the different universes, and he's attacking all the separate universes.
That's right.
Okay.
And like
that's what I assumed.
In my mind, and I have no idea if this is, real or not, but in my mind, the primary Superman, the primary universe Superman, that gets abducted to Apocalypse and experimented on, he gets away because Batman came to save him.
Right.
But in the process of him being experimented on, they might have come up with something that would be an effective way to kill him. Because in our book, Superman gets killed.
Right.
And that's
it's
unexpected,
very much
and it's unexplained.
Yeah.
But the parademons come with a device and they kill him. So to me, I don't think it's been said anywhere, and I don't know if it's an actual thing.
Yeah.
That was just my theory.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And one of the things that they're finding interesting about connective tissue is that the green and the red and the grey is one of those things that will connect them. And in the primary universe, where there's a lot of stuff going on, it just happens in the fringes. But in our universe, where there aren't a lot of superheroes, it's completely different. The nature of Earth 2 is different. The second arc will be about magic versus science, because all of our characters are getting their powers in a very similar way. That's on purpose. They're getting their powers through a mystical encounter of some description. And you'll see a little more of that. It's for a reason. It's because the red and the grey and the green have a much stronger presence on our Earth.
Okay.
And that's why, a Green Lantern is connected to the green. He is the green. He is essentially Earth 2's version of Swamp Thing. It's just manifesting itself in a completely different way because of the nature of Earth 2.
Okay.
And it's the same with Solomon Grundy.
It's very much like, I sort of equated to Fringe, where they had the parallel universes and stuff like that. I'm a huge Fringe fan, so I kind of totally took to that. I love it.
It's exactly the same idea.
Yeah. Now, you grew up in Sydney, right?
Yeah.
What were some comics that sort of got you into it?
It wasn't comics that got me into it. I come from a big girl family, and I wasn't aware of comic books until much later in life.
Yeah.
It was the TV shows and the films with superheroes in them that
sort of
made me aware of them and made me a huge fan. The first superhero I ever saw was when I was 4, sitting there watching television with my sisters, and Wonder Woman came on. And they were like, this is ridiculous, awesome. I'm out of here. But I was like, no, I'm hot. Who is this chick in a fantastic outfit? She's running around and picking up cars.
Kicking
I
ass.
was just like, I want that in my life. And, that was my introduction to superheroes.
Yeah.
And of course I found more as I went along. I found reruns for Batman. The Superman movies started coming out.
Yeah.
All of those things sort of really impacted my childhood. And that love of superheroes is something that I never grew out of, despite having no geeky friends. I grew up with a lot of girlfriends that would see me drawing characters like Wonder Woman and stuff, and just like, what the hell is that? And it wasn't until I was sort of somewhere in my 20s, late teens, early 20s, that I started having experience with comic books.
Yeah.
And so it was like post Infinite Crisis of Infinite Earths. And so, that kind of introduced me to the comic book world of superheroes. And eventually, it was quite a bit late in life. I was 30 when I decided I wanted to draw comic books. And I really didn't know what that meant and how to go about it. But it meant that I could come into it with a completely fresh perspective, a fresh eye, and learn a lot lot really quickly.
Well, Nicola, thank you so much.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
me. Despite
Absolutely,
the lack
thank
of
you
voice.
so much. And Comic Impact, stick around for more here at San Diego Comic-Con. Stick with us for more.